Alright, continuing on my detailing of the differences between some of the Yngwie models. This is my 2014 US made Fender Yngwie Malmsteen Strat. You can see it's got all the traditional US logos, large logo, signature with synchronized tremolo, etc. Bullet truss rod, got the brass nut, which you can tell was probably hand cut and formed for best action. Has the vintage style tuners with the F logo on them. And this is one of the things I've been talking about with the skunk stripe on my other ones. So the skunk stripe is here, which is, you know, about 3/4 of the way through the 2nd fret. The ones on the Japan models are a bit longer and almost go even with, well, 1st fret right into the 2nd fret. The US model obviously has a bit higher quality than the Japanese models. You know, that's kind of just something that we pride ourselves on. You see it's only got a 1-ply trem cover. Nice body contours. This one, I don't know when they went to these, I should probably look into it, but it has a different type of strap button. They were actually inset into the body, so you have to use strap locks. You can only use a strap lock strap with those, which doesn't really bother me. I kind of like it. Something different. So this one is, being it's the 2014 model, has the deepest scallops of all the different models that I've seen. You can see they go really fast and really deep and have absolutely humongous frets. So you're never touching the fretboard, which doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it, actually. Some people, you know, not so much, but to each their own. So this one, of course, has his newest pickups, which are the YJM Furies. To me, they sound relatively low output and more like a traditional vintage Fender pickup, except that they're humbuckers since they're stacked, so they're actually really quiet. So to me, best of both worlds. So if you want to boost it up, you can stick a tube screamer or whatever in front of your amp. If you don't, you don't have to, and you'll get a lot of traditional Fender sounds. These ones, though, he went to the 3-way instead of 5-way pickup selector. So you have a little bit less options in your tones. Traditionally, the middle pickups are a bit lower, but on this model, the route, unfortunately, is not deep enough to allow this pickup to go any lower. So for me, that's kind of frustrating. I couldn't even imagine what Yngwie's thoughts would be on that, because from what I've seen, he always puts his pickups flat in the middle, and I don't really use the middle pickup, so I usually put it flat because it gets in the way of the pick, especially with these vintage poles that are tall. You know, when you start picking in here, a lot of the times your pick will run into these poles, even with it that low. Some other nuances of this model: obviously has all the YJM pots, which this one's a speed pot. Super easy to turn, very, very little resistance. Traditional tone pot, I think, in the middle. I could be wrong on that one. But then on this one, when you turn it up to 10, it actually has a little notch. You probably won't be able to tell. I can feel it, but, you know, you being able to see it's a different story. So it's actually locked in, not very easy to turn. When it's at 10, you got to kind of give it a little more force and hold on to it to break it out of the 10. So that's kind of handy, and from what I understand, it's actually bypassed when it's at 10 to give you a bit more of a brighter tone or more output, depending on who you ask. I think it's just a little bit brighter tone. It has the traditional Fender style saddles, and I floated the bridge on this one, supposedly just like Yngwie does. Stays in tune just fine. I like it. Then you can't see it, of course, because I left the trem plate on, but has a nice big bridge block inside of there. And I think that's about it for this one. Thanks, guys.